against my frame of mind. My heart is stuck in a loop of your rhythm and right.
Hello, it's me. I'm gonna skip this song. Is it playing the right list? It is. Hello, friends. It is I. I'm here to do my all-time favorite activity, the most exciting thing ever, making chapter labels. Hopefully everything's working okay. Hopefully you can hear me because I had to fiddle with my microphone before going live. But I'm here. Of course running late because Ghost Pepper's been gone half a day. He's not coming home tonight, and everything is chaos. This is my life without structure. Hooray! But I'm here. I have spent most of the last day outlining the edits for Book 8 of Aravalia Chronicles. It's a monster of a book. It's significantly about a third of the length longer than the other books in that series so far. There's no real way to mitigate that. I actually have to add more content to the book. So it's gonna be crazy, but I'm excited about it. But that's not what we're working on today. Today I have to do chapter labels for Careless Electronica, the next book in the Celestial Serenade, which is coming out in June, very soon already, a month. I can't believe it. Yeah. So here we are to do that. You might double hear me, but I just want to make sure that something's actually working. Test. Okay. Think you guys should be able to hear me? Seriously, let me know if I'm like garbled or muted or something. Also, just because I showed this yesterday, I worked on it a little bit more. You might almost be able to tell what it is, maybe. So I'm slowly filling that in. Actually, on the camera, looking at it, the white bits don't look like much when they're filled in, but on the camera, they actually look quite nicely filled in, so progress, I guess. Progress! Alright, I'm just gonna go straight into things, no sprints today, because I can work and talk at the same time for a change. So for anyone who hasn't seen one of these streams before, I'm basically the font that makes my beautiful, chapter labels in my Celestial Serenade. It's not actually a font, it's this adorable little vector thing here. And we're gonna copy and paste the letters individually until we make chapter labels. Hey, baby squid queen of hell, how's it going? Can you hear me okay? I hope everything is working properly. And how are you? Let me just remove my sweater here quick. Music is a touch loud. Let me fix. How is that? Good. I did forget to adjust the sound balance. It's been a day, you guys. Ghost Pepper's out of town for the next few days, so there's been a scramble just to make sure that, like, a bunch of things are done before he leaves, and just that I have everything in the house that I need while he's gone. Let me remember how this even works. Had a migraine the last couple days, was starting to feel better. I'm so sorry to hear that. Migraines are the worst, but I'm glad you're starting to feel better. I usually make them 100 pixels high. I need to make them all the same height so that when I do the big anthology book, they're not like half super huge and half teeny tiny. Also, that's spoilers. Don't look! Unfortunately, when I name these chapters, there's like never any overlap, so I always have to do all of the words from scratch. So hooray. If I didn't love how these looked so much when they're finished, I would not have done this for... Also, I've done it for like 7 books already, so I guess I have to do it for 2 more. Every time I start doing these again, I'm like, why do I do this? But it's because they look so good. Also, I have dinner in the crock pot and it is starting to smell delicious. Very excited. Making something for myself that Ghost Pepper doesn't really like. Joe, hello, hello. How's it going? What is up? Making something for myself that he doesn't really like to eat because he's not going to be home for the next few days. So I'm making myself this really delicious sauce with peppers and onions, and I threw some stewing beef in there to like slow cook, and then I'm gonna eat it over pasta. That's gonna be really amazing. It be like that sometimes. It do be like that sometimes. I was sick all last week, so like I get it. I woke up Tuesday morning feeling like myself for the first time in a week, and it was like only when I started to feel better did I realize like how bad I actually was the whole time. How's it going, Joe? Are you excited? Are you I assume that you're starting the game at midnight. I assume that like you're gonna wrap up your other game by midnight so that you can start Tears of the Kingdom. Suddenly, slow spelling words makes you question everything. I'm like, am I actually spelling this correctly? Starting at midnight, I'm kicking Apple and Dad out by midnight. Look, I think they probably understand. You've been talking about starting this game for like weeks. Was talking about it all day yesterday and back at work today, and boy did I make some mistakes. Hey, I hope people were understanding. Squid Queen, because when you've not been feeling yourself for a while and you come back to it, look, I have spent most of this week catching up on stuff that I just didn't get to last week, because by the time I got my main work done, I was so tired. But, you know, luckily being my own boss and the people that I do work with are usually pretty understanding. My screen feels like I hit a setting somewhere. Doesn't look like it's doing anything. Hannah, thank you so much for the raid! Sorry, I was trying to adjust my other screen. Welcome, Raiders! Hannah Lee Kidder, hello, hello. How's it going? What were you working on today? Reviews are coming out and most publications are giving it a perfect 10 out of 10. I did briefly, like, because like I said, I've not really ever been into Zelda games. I did briefly go this morning and look up the trailer, which, first of all, why did they even need to announce that Matt Mercer was gonna be voicing Ganon? You can tell from the trailer. Like, as soon as they was speaking in the trailer, I was like, oh yeah, that's Matt Mercer. But I saw that there were a bunch of articles out already about people raving about the game. Was writing some porn. You know how it is? I know exactly how it is. I'm gonna be working on some stuff for my pen name tomorrow, so so you do sometimes. I hope the words were cooperating. That is the main thing. We are stringing letters together, individual letters together to make words today. My goodness. I really should... I feel like I should turn on the guides, but if I turn on the guides, they only turn on for, like... I could turn on the grid. That might help. Ah, that's so much easier. Okay. Except those don't line up perfectly, so... Fun times. Caleb writes, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. How's it going? He was the one who made it. That's true. He made a tweet about it. I mean, I'm sure he was really excited about it, but as soon as I heard I don't know how long the trailer was out for, because I watched the second trailer, but I was like, yeah, that's Matt Mercer. He's been a really big fan of Zelda since he was a kid, so it's a huge honor for him. I imagine there's no more nerdy dude out. I mean, there's lots of nerdy dudes out there, but like Matt Mercer is genuinely like into all the stuff that he like participates in. He's genuinely really excited about pretty much all of the projects that he gets involved in. And I think that's awesome, because the more passionate you are about something, obviously, like it shines, like it comes through. Hi, I'm awesome. I'm glad to hear you're doing awesome today, Caleb. What are you working on today? I am not planning to do sprints today because I'm making chapter labels, but if you guys want me to turn on the sprint timer at any time, please let me know. We have a 20-minute sprint timer. We have a 30-minute sprint timer. Anybody who wants that like focus accountability during the stream, I'm 100% happy to turn that on. Laurel, thank you so much for 14 months. Oh my goodness. Working on a novel I titled Butterflies with Vertigo. I love that name. That sounds awesome. What genre is this novel? You can tell us about it if you want. You don't have to. No obligation. That was their first trailer. Ganondorf had any speaking lines in, so it was the big reveal of his voice. I can totally see that. I can totally see that. I got chills, of course, because Matt Mercer's voice work is flippin' amazing. I've forgotten how to spell invisible again. I only looked at it like 3 times. I'm really excited for Stray Gods, which is coming out at the end of August, I think, or at the beginning. I think it's August. I backed that game in 2019, at a time when we didn't really have the money for me to be backing things. We were actually trying to buy this house at the time, and it was going poorly. Because the place where we were trying to get a mortgage was just sort of giving us the runaround. It worked out, obviously. I'm sitting in this house, so we obviously got things sorted out. But I was so enamored by the concept of the game, and it was one of those things where I should really actually have that behind that, because it's really hard to tell if I've got that lined up. Even with the grid, this is a pain in the butt. It was one of those things where it wasn't guaranteed. Like, normally when I find stuff that I'm really interested in on Kickstarter, if I don't have, like, the funds at the time, I'm like, well, it's gonna get funded. So I'll just wait and buy it when it comes out. But Stray Gods, when I initially found it, it was not certain that they were going to get their funding. And so I really, really wanted the project to happen, even though I knew it wasn't going to come out. Originally, they wanted to release in, I think, 2021, but they had to push way back because of the pandemic. Obviously, it's coming out this year, instead. So, like, 2 years late. But I'm so happy, I'm so excited, I'm so glad that I funded it, because it looks amazing. It is, for anyone who hasn't heard of Stray Gods, it's a game that's coming out, I think, in August, and it is a, like, musical dating sim. So it's a visual novel with dating elements. They changed it. They originally pitched it as a dating sim. I think they've pitched it as a visual novel now. I think I'm actually making I'm actually making the wrong chapter label. This is for the wrong book. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. This is fine. Listen, we'll just save it. We'll just save it, because I'm gonna need it eventually. It's not like it won't get used. Oh my goodness. It's fine. This is fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. I actually think I can cheat on the new one. Let's do the actual... We'll do the actual right one. That's hilarious. I think in book 1 there was a chapter that had Please tell me that there was a chapter that had this title. There's actually not? Okay. It wasn't as cheeky when I named this title as I thought then. Cool. It's all good. It's all good. I can steal the out of here. One thing I can do. I can steal the. Been there, done that. I know. I don't know what I was thinking. It's not like it was wasted work. It'll get used. But dang. Found a Yu-Gi-Oh! Starter pack that I bought for like 5 or 6 years ago that came with a beginner's guide, so I have a reference for my TCG-based project. Nice! Fire Chicken was freaking out last night looking at Matt Mercer's previous roles, realizing he voiced most of his childhood. Yeah, Matt Mercer has been at it for a while. I think one of his earliest projects was one of the Ace Combat games. He was like the reporter for one of the Ace Combat games, and it was pretty early in his voice acting career. And he's been pretty prolific since then. The idea was like mixing fantasy action and romance. Ooh, in the story, a radioactive frozen glass meteor that also has a mind crashes into New York and sends buildings flying in glass bubbles and mutates everyone into animal hybrids called variants. That sounds cool! That sounds really cool! So are there things living in the glass bubbles too? Like, are parts of the city kind of like preserved in the glass bubbles? Alright, let's do the for real chapter that we're actually supposed to be doing. In 2 months, when I have to do the next set of labels, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I already did half of one. Luckily, I realized before I did like half the book. That would have been the worst if I had done like 6 of them and been like, oh no, this is book 9, not book 8. Oh no. I took animals from the Bronx Zoo and some evolved flowers. Interesting! My current writing project is mind-numbingly boring. Why? What's boring about it, Squid Queen? I'm close to the point when the TCG element starts coming into play, so I found the beginner's guide just in time. Nice! Yeah, I know you were asking us about, I know you were asking me about where to start with that sort of thing, but I just don't. I've never played a trading card game. I've never even played Magic, so I just don't even know. I wouldn't even know where to start with that. Rewriting training manuals. That does not sound like the most fun, I will admit. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. I think that is too far. Our current training manuals are split over 4 documents and completely out of date. Well, I hope the updates go smoothly. I can understand why it wouldn't be the most exciting. Why is that not? Oh. I'm wrong tool, that's why. At least I'll know where to start if I ever do actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! Heck yeah! Well, and that's the sort of thing too, like if you start creating like rules for a game, it becomes like easier to do similar things later. Please tell me that I have a chapter that has "again" in the title somewhere. I don't. Cool. This is what I get for naming all of the second book's things in Italian. Forgot how alphabet worked. Welcome back, Caleb. The research part is fine, but the rewriting and procedures part, which is the part I'm currently working on, is boring and tedious. I could totally see that. My industry is very rapidly evolving and changing, so information goes out of date very fast. ABC, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Conquest, hello, hello. I know, for some reason I was just like, where does K come in the alphabet? I don't know anymore. I imagine too, if you're gonna go to all the effort of like rewriting all your training manuals, I imagine they don't want to do that very often. Which, it's a thing, right? You gotta keep that stuff as up to date as possible. It's either the energy and effort of updating the like manuals, or the energy and effort of explaining to someone who's being trained what all in the manuals is out of date. We need to expand this. That was not helpful, actually. Man, I will say, as not exciting as I find this particular activity, it is nice to take a brain break. I've been doing really heavy, like, notations for the edit for the next Arvalia book. There's been a lot to tear through because the next book is quite long, quite pivotal to the series. There's a lot that needs changed. In the last edit I did, it was... I talked a lot about how I only needed to add one scene, and most of the stuff was bang on. Of course, obviously, it needed fixing. It needed edits. Why did I get a G? I do need a G. I'm losing my mind. I was like, wait, this isn't the letter I need. Yes, it is. But the next book is gonna need it needs so much. I need to add in at least 5 scenes. There's at least like 2 or 3 scenes that a missing character has to be written into. It's gonna be a lot. So I'm just I'm excited to make it what it needs to be, but at the same time it is gonna be a lot of brain work. And I think, in particular, writing a character into an established scene is difficult because it'll basically be a study in what are the things that I want to preserve from the original scene, and how do I fit the new character in there without making it seem like he's just kind of shoved in as an afterthought. So as much as I think it's gonna improve the story, I'm just not looking forward to actually doing it. Oh my god, Woof! Listen, you missed the part where we spent like the first 20 minutes of stream making labels for the wrong book. Also, Woof, hello! How's it going? Hence why trying to condense everything down so that way new people can refer to it and learn the terms so they can do their own research. Yeah. It's an unenviable task, but it sounds like you've got it well in hand, Squid Queen. Runewolf, hello, hello. Yes, you guys can spend the next 3 hours guessing what words I'm very slowly spelling out. It looks wrong, but that is how you spell what I'm trying to spell. I thought I had a chapter already called The Sleeper Wakes, and I apparently changed it. So, there we go. There we go. The Sleeper Wakes Aga. Woof! You pain in my butt. How far are you in, your beta reading, by the way? Have you read more since the last time you updated me? I have to remember which book you're reading. Okay. I might know where you are. Chapter numbers are helpful, but okay. We did it. We did one. Chapter 17. We did it. 1. Well, I know you're on part 3. Woof, you pain in my buttock. Oh yeah, that's around where I thought you were. Let's not accidentally start making chapter labels for the wrong series. That would be bad. That would be bad because I won't necessarily use this font for the next series. Spoilers, woof, but yeah, that's the part I figured you were at. I read Eternity's Empire 2. I saw, oh my god, so Conquest, I saw your video. Is that like, I assume that that's edited to add the image onto the billboard, but there is like reflection and everything. How did you, my mind is blown. How did you do that? It's so good. Like, I genuinely spent like 3 minutes staring at the screen like, did he somehow put it on a billboard? Is it somehow like out there? And then I was like, no, it can't be. It can't be. You guys did amazing with that because you can see like the reflection on like the actual surface. Like it's not, the image doesn't disturb like the natural flow of the video. It's amazing. Like my mind was actually blown. I mean, I don't know a ton about video editing, so maybe that's like, for you guys, maybe that's like Tuesday, but I was very, very impressed. For anyone who doesn't know, Conquest has been posting tons of amazing little 3D renderings and line art and stuff on the Discord. So if anyone is not on the Discord and would like to pop over and see some of that awesome stuff, please do, because it's amazing. Isn't it, Woof? Like, it's so freaking good. I keep thinking, and I apologize because I meant to message you last week, Conquest, and I was so sick. I ended up just over the weekend just being so out of it, and since then I've just been trying to catch up, but I keep meaning to, I have an actual, like, logo that was made for me, to put in, if you guys, no obligation or anything, because I know you guys are playing around with whatever suits your fancy, but, for the video that you sent of, like, the picture of my avatar and then the box opening up to, like, the logo, I have an actual logo that can be put in there if you want. I can send it. And I meant to send you that message, like, 4 days ago, but I was just so out of it, that this is the first time I'm able to, like, cognitively make the connection. You guys probably, the people who are on the Discord probably noticed that on like Tuesday or Wednesday, I just went in and replied to a bunch of old messages because I was like, I can think now. Wolf, how's it been going, by the way? Did I ask how you're doing? What is up? I assume your workday is over. I assume that's why you're in here sassing me. Apple, thank you so much for the sub. 5 months. I can't believe it. What is up? How are you doing? I was just talking to Joe earlier about your upcoming stream tonight. At least until midnight Joe's time. These got out of order. That's not the best. The hardest part of these is when I have to go from a curvy letter to a pointy letter because it's hard to line them up. No. I think my mouse might also be starting to die, which is not ideal. Yeah, I really enjoyed lurking on your guys' last stream, just watching you go in and just have fun and beat the crap out of stuff. So I will almost certainly be lurking tonight. Ghost Pepper is out of town. So I am all on my own. So I will be hardcore lurking in people's streams for the next few days to get my human contact. Because I'm not leaving the house. Let's be honest. I'm not going out and into the world. Going out and into the world to interact with people. So I'll be hanging out on everybody's streams. Providing the usual sass. So... This chapter title will make me sound much smarter than I actually am, so I appreciate that. Just chilling before dinner? Nice. What's for dinner, Woof? Why is it not registering keystrokes? Double tap. I did hear a rumor that you might be getting kicked out of Joe's house at midnight so that he can play Tears of the Kingdom. I assume that means that we won't be doing marbles on stream for the next few days. Sag. I know that Apple in particular is a huge fan of marbles. True, I know Joe has been really looking forward to this game. Which I totally didn't misname on yesterday's stream. I totally knew exactly which game he's been excited about. I totally didn't need him to tell me. Totally didn't accidentally create bootleg Zelda. Bootleg Zelda. We've got Zelda and Zelda now. Totally always say Zelda's name correctly and properly. They're sisters, right? Zelda, Zolda, and Zilda? They're sisters, right? Pug! Hello! How's it going? Listen, Wind Waker was the first Zelda game that popped into my head. I was like, that's the one he's been saying a whole bunch, right? The Zelda variations sound like a cool witch coven. They do sound like a cool witch coven. The Z sisters. My ex-stepsister's name is Zelma. Oh, interesting. I've not heard that name before. The Sisters? Yes! Pug! Wavelength. the Zelda variations are the Sisters Coven. Heck yeah. Wind Waker is my favorite Zelda, but what's your favorite Zelda game? What's your favorite Zelda game? I'm waiting for me to sass so hard that Joe just like goes to his channel and preemptively bans me. He's like, no more of that. Oh my god, for anybody who wasn't... Somebody had to have clip this, but for anyone who wasn't on Joe's stream last night, Bard asked him to create a fancy interrobang without telling him what an interrobang is. And it was amazing. It was just absolutely amazing to watch. Zelda and the Lampshade of Discontent. That sounds like a Zelda game, yeah. I just need Nintendo to hire me to make bootleg games. Apparently, I missed my calling. After some D&D stuff, Conquest, thank you so much for stopping by. I'll give you a hand heart as soon as I can lift my hand off the keyboard. Really appreciate you sharing your art and digital doodles and all that kind of stuff with us. Good luck with the arting. I hope everything goes the way you want it to. I finally made iced tea. Although in a few minutes, we're gonna make some hot tea. I have to decide what flavor of tea I want today. I have many, many options. I might make a chestnut tea. I don't know. I have to decide if I want like a really sweet tea or if I want like a green tea. Let me make sure I spelled ionization right. I did. It's chapter 18. 2! We've done 2! One more and then we'll make some tea. A caramel latte! Oh, that sounds amazing. Caramel lattes are my favorite. Iced tea is good. This is a mistletoe tea, which sounds weird, but it's actually very good cold. It's the last batch of my mistletoe tea. So yeah, I have many options that I could do for tea. I have to decide basically what like family of tea. On Monday I had Lady Grey. On Tuesday I had peaches and cream. On Wednesday I had a chai, a really good vanilla chai. Oh, thank you for the posture check, Joe. Yeah, it actually was from the Christmas box. I had, I was subscribed to David's Tea for a while, and the mistletoe tea was in their Christmas box. Harmonic Tea Leaves, you're here at the exact right moment. Thank you so much for the follow. We're just talking about what kind of tea I should drink today. I have a bunch of samples from when I was subscribed to tea services, like tea subscription boxes that I've been trying to finish up. Was there any of these chapter titles that had the word different in them? No. Nope. No. It's a common word. You'd think I'd have done it already, but I haven't. So we're doing it individually. Heck yeah. Honestly, if someone were to right now just like toss out an idea of like a tea that I should drink for the afternoon, I would probably have a tea very similar to it. So if anyone out there is like, I have an idea for a tea you should drink, like toss it at me, because I probably have something similar. Elderberry. I do have some blueberry teas that have elderberry in them. Because elderberry actually has a stronger flavor than blueberry. So I could do a berry tea for sure. Well, different is a common enough word that I thought I would have used it already. Apparently not. I'm too creative when I come up with these chapter titles. They don't all use the same core words for some reason, which would make my life easier at this stage. For some reason, I don't think about this part of the process when I do. I really should. Elderberry lemonade is really good. Ooh, that does sound really good. Yeah, I could do a berry tea. I have a very delicious, it's not elderberry, so I might look at one of my more berry mixed teas to get elderberry, but I do have a very delicious blueberry white tea that Woof gave to me. Hot dog tea I don't have, Joe. That is the one type of tea I think I don't have present in my house. Also, we ate all of the rest of the hot dogs last night, so I can't just soak one in water to make a hot dog tea. I'm not sure how good I think hot dog tea would taste. I would drink hot dog tea, except the tea parts. I drink more coffee than tea at work just because it's quicker to make. Fair. At my husband's workplace, they have, like, coffee on tap, basically. I can't drink more than one cup of coffee a day, or I won't sleep. So I do tea in the afternoon. But I love both coffee and tea. But tea does take more time. That is for sure. Actually, move that over one more and that over one more. Ooh, I do have some raspberry. I have like a raspberry chocolate one as well. I'd have to check and see if it had dairy in it, but I do have like a raspberry chocolate flavored one, or like I might not still have it. I had a raspberry croissant one for a while too, which was really good, but I may have eaten all of that. I may have drunk all of that one. I don't eat the tea leaves, I promise. But I may have drunk all of that one. Chocolate raspberry tea sounds good. It is pretty good. We have a coffee pod machine, which is super handy. We have something similar as well. And we have the pods that you can put your own coffee in. So I can put like literally any coffee in there. If you've already drank the tea, then the leaves are just a little tasty snack for the dehydrator. That is fair. I do know a lot of people who dry their tea leaves and like make like potpourri out of them. I don't know if I would actually, I don't know, some tea leaves, I'm not sure if it would be safe to eat them after, because I genuinely don't know if the plants that they come from, like, I'm pretty sure, like, this is mistletoe tea, and it's fine, but I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want to eat the mistletoe, like, the actual, like, leaf bits. But I do know that you can make a nice potpourri out of here if you try. And some people put them in the garden as well. I need caffeine to function because of unmedicated ADHD. Honestly, Squid Queen, if it's what gets you through, totally. I learned a long time ago that I'm one of those poor unfortunate souls. Ironically, I can drink and drink and drink and never get a hangover. But if I drink coffee, that caffeine is in my system for 8 hours. So if it is after 2:30 and I drink coffee and I try to go to bed at a reasonable time, that caffeine is still in my system, unfortunately. So I can get away with tea in the afternoon because the content of the caffeine is much lower. But even tea, like, I can't really drink tea in the evenings unless it's caffeine free. So weird how, like, I have a friend who is completely unaffected by caffeine. She can drink and drink and drink coffee and it just doesn't, like, do anything for her. And she actually has to be careful that she doesn't imbibe too much caffeine. Yeah, it's just kind of funny to me that, when it comes to alcohol, I get drunk, like, I get affected by the alcohol, but I've just never really, I think the one time we, thought that I had a hangover, it was actually because I drank butter sauce while I was drunk and forgot that I was lactose intolerant. So it was actually a reaction to the dairy that I ate and not actually the alcohol. So my best friend hates me, but yeah, with caffeine, it's just like, it keeps me up. It does its job too well. I'm pretty sure mistletoe is poisonous to eat. I'm also pretty sure mistletoe is poisonous to eat. Same with drinking and no hangover, but caffeine burns off fast for me. Yeah, it's like everybody's body works slightly differently. And it's interesting because, so I have been not drinking as much in general lately because I am on medication for my thyroid. I've talked about this a few times, but I have an overactive thyroid that we are currently treating. And so I'm basically on thyroid inhibitors. And the idea is that it will basically throttle my thyroid into producing less of the hormone until it is sort of trained to make the correct amount of the hormone. But because there's a very, very small risk of damage to my liver with this medication, I've been very careful about how much I've been drinking. My doctor told me that it's fine to drink in moderation, but I've been really careful not to get, like, super smashed. But I've been wondering, since I started this medication, if one of the reasons why I don't get hungover is because I have a higher than usual metabolism. So I'm wondering if I just process that alcohol faster, if it just moves through. Citation needed, because I don't know if the amount of thyroid hormone in my blood actually affects like how quickly alcohol moves through me or whatever. But I've wondered for some time if once I stop taking the medication, if I were to get like ultra drunk, if the alcohol would affect me differently, because it would theoretically move through my body at a different pace. So I'm gonna be very interested for science in once I get done taking this medication, how I like respond to alcohol. But yeah, like everybody, it is true that everybody's body like processes things differently and at different paces, and like all of those factors affect like how different substances affect you. So I only drink a couple times a month, if that. Mom's side of the family never got hangovers. It is handy, I will say. Now, I mean, I should caveat that with I also try to like drink water. If I am like super smashed, I try to pause between drinks and drink water, and I try to drink a glass of water before I go to bed. I don't think I'm like, I don't believe that I'm entirely impervious to hangovers. I do struggle to remember not to drink dairy when I'm drunk, apparently. Which causes me more problems than the alcohol. But I am genuinely interested to know if like, if it will be perceptively different, like how I deal with alcohol once I get done taking this medication. This might not be one of my like favorite tasks, but I do love that we always talk about interesting things. Whenever I'm on stream making chapter labels, we always end up talking about interesting stuff. Yeah, I feel like within moderation, obviously, I don't want to like hurt myself, but I do feel like once I'm done with the medication, I need to have like a drinking night for science. For science purposes. Man, we did, this was a while back now, but we did a drunken D&D charity stream. It was the Winds of Chaos crew, plus me. I'm not a regular part of the Winds of Chaos crew, but they wanted a fourth, so it was me guesting as Ephema, and the Disaster Bastards, and people could basically donate to charity to make us drink shots, and I don't know how I navigated my character sheet that day, because we drank a lot. But that was an interesting experience. I had to tap out a little bit on, like, I basically maxed out on what I was willing to drink that day, versus I think Ghost Pepper drank a little bit more. But it was a very interesting day for sure. It is hard sometimes to do the Dungeons and Dragons math when you're sober. So just imagine trying to do that. The final boss battle was very, very interesting because we were all quite inhibited by that point in time. We did it. 3 chapter labels. How is it 4:30 already? How is it 4:30 already? Real talk. And we've done 3 of these. How is this possible? For science, famous last words. Listen. I'm dedicated to science. this out. We would have a fourth one done if we hadn't, you know, accidentally started on the wrong book. But it's fine. It's okay. Let's see. Is the next one short? Kinda. Kinda. Now, tell me that I haven't used this word anywhere else. How have I not reused words so efficiently? Cool, yeah, haven't used any of these words. Cool. I don't think we're gonna get all of these in today, but that's okay. That means we can do a second one of these streams. A second one of these chaotic, crazy streams. In the future. I'm not in an insane rush to get this book finished. I do have a little bit of time before I have to get the pre-order up. Which is nice. We can take our time with it. We can make tea in a minute, which will be so nice. 7:33 for Laurel and 11:36 a.m. for Squid Queen. Oh, I wonder if you're like in our future. Is it still Thursday for you, Squid Queen, or is it Friday for you? I try not to make my streams too chaotic when I'm doing focus, but sometimes you gotta have a little chaos, especially if Joe's around. In New Zealand and it's Friday. Nice! Nice. So you are a bit closer to the weekend than we are. We have some quite good friends. Speaking of the last time we had alcohol going on in our house, we have some friends from New Zealand who have moved here to Canada, who we hang out with occasionally. Less so since the pandemic started, unfortunately, but we started getting to hang out with them again. Actually, one of them asked Ghost Pepper to do his best New Zealand accent in his presence, and Ghost Pepper was very embarrassed because he was like, it's gonna sound horrible. I regret not taking today off, but oh well. I mean, hindsight, right? But if it's 11:36, I mean, you're almost halfway through, I assume. I guess I shouldn't assume your work hours. I shouldn't assume that noon is halfway through your workday, but hopefully you're almost halfway through. I'm at my weekend. I'm off work tomorrow. Nice! I will be working off stream tomorrow, so I have a lot to do tomorrow. I am gonna pause here. I know it's weird to pause like right in the middle of a chapter label, but I want to go get the tea kettle on, so we're gonna take a quick break. I finish at 5:30. No, Squid Queen! I'm just hoping that your day goes smoothly. Sometimes that's all that you can hope for, right? I will not see Ghost Pepper until Sunday. I think he's thinking around 8 or 9 they'll be home. So I saw him for like 2 seconds this morning when he slipped into the bedroom to give me a goodbye kiss. And I won't see him again until Sunday. So I'm gonna try not to spend the entire time working, but I will be working tomorrow off stream. He is on a field trip with his rugby kids for school, so he will be working pretty much around the clock, because even when they are like supposed to be sleeping, teenagers can be a handful. So I am gonna go make some tea and also check on how my dinner is doing in the crock pot. So I will see you. It'll probably be about 5 minutes, might be a little slightly longer break than usual, but hopefully we'll take fewer of them today. So I will be right back for more of this wonderfully exciting chapter label creation. right, I'm back. I settled on a raspberry tea. If anyone is wondering, I got a raspberry green tea. Sorry, I'm still just like reflectively checking for spiders after the recent spider incident. I went with raspberry tea, so we've got a delicious raspberry green tea. Nice and piping hot, and we're gonna get back to these labels. I'll probably end up doing some work this weekend too, but I'll see how I feel. Migraine recovery is rough. It is. I've not had really bad migraines myself, but I have friends who talk about how bad they are. Some who have ended up like in the emergency room from pain. So please take care of yourself, Squid Queen. If you need to rest, please do. You are the most important thing. So do what the body needs to get back on your feet. Mooncloud, hello, how's it going? The K looks like just weirdly big compared to the rest of the letters. Going well, glad to hear it. That looks like about the same amount. I'm very much guesstimating here. There are like actual graphic design people watching. They're probably like losing their mind with how like not precise I actually am with these. My character Coda is so precious. I'm seriously hoping nothing decides to happen to him. Uh-oh. I mean, usually the best stories involve bad things happening to the characters at some point. Oh man, I am basically in the book that I just got done outlining. It is like the most emotionally heavy point for one of my characters. And part of me is like happy about it because, you know, he has to have that experience, but the rest of me is like, oh boy. If only you hadn't spent, like, I don't know, 200 years trying to run from your problems, it might not have been this bad. But he did, and it was... I feel like I just need to bump that by one. There we go. Wait. What? How do I go from 8? No, okay. I got confused. I was like, how did I go from 19 to 22? But it's chapter 20, colon, 2 lost kids. I've made that mistake before. I mean, I definitely feel like many of my characters also have had more than enough shit in their lives, but that doesn't stop more shit from happening to them in my stories, unfortunately. If there is someone who has dealt with enough of the universe's shit, it is almost certainly Topper. But you know, stories are more exciting if your characters are dealing with shit. That's just kind of how it works. No! What did I just do? Don't do that. Undo. My mouse is definitely starting to, like, when I'm holding down the click, it's starting to not register the whole time, so... But it does seem to register when I click, so I'm not sure... Maybe I just need to fiddle with the sensitivity. Oh, please don't be dying. Please don't let my mouse be dying. I just don't want to look for a new mouse. I'm too lazy. Kiki, hello, how's it going? How did your writing go? I know yesterday when you popped in, you said you were working on writing. I don't want my trash panda boy to suffer. I don't want Damarin to suffer either. I mean, really, I just want to wrap him in, you know, padded plastic, but that ain't how life works. And he'd be the first to tell me that. It's funny too because readers always say they don't want their favorite characters to suffer, but they love them more for suffering. It's that tragic cycle of we identify more with people who have triumphed over difficulty. Where we are drawn to people who can get through the shit. And that's why we tell stories, really. That's not the only reason we tell stories, but it's one of the big ones. Sad news, I had to re-edit my chapter and cut it down to 5K. Don't worry, I just saved the rest. I mean, it always sucks when you have to cut stuff down, but hopefully you can use it later, like you said. Saving it is a good call. You made your first book cover, Kiki, that's awesome. If you're on the Discord and want to share it, please drop it in there. I get scared because I get so attached. Listen, the number of times I have cried over things I've had to write about happening to my characters is a lot. I feel you. It is normal. The secret is people think authors are like, I'm going to make my character suffer. But actually it's like tears sliding down your cheeks like, I don't want this to happen, but it's what happens. I know, I've been there. There is actually a chapter in the book that I'm about to publish that we have not yet made the chapter label for, which every time I have had to do anything to it, from the time I wrote it to the many, many, many times that I have edited it, every time I edit it, no matter what number draft I'm on, it makes me sob like a child. And one of my betas actually, after she read that chapter, actually I think both of my betas, two of my betas on that particular read sent me messages when they got to that chapter. I don't know if Woof is still here. He could confirm, but I think Woof's message was, you should rename this chapter to Woof is dead, you ripped out his heart and destroyed it, or something like that. And one of my other beta readers was like, I can't believe that you wrote that. And I was like, listen, I cried first. I don't know anything about Demon Slayer, if I'm honest. I am very behind in anime. I have not watched an anime since, I think the last anime I watched was Yuri on Ice. Which for me is pretty new, but I think that's actually quite old now. No, I don't want to accidentally move anything. I just want to select the right thing. My day has been pretty good. I have been like ultra busy this week because I was sick last week, so I've been catching up on a lot. And the outline, the edits that I was outlining, that I actually started outlining yesterday, took way longer than I anticipated, just because that book is actually longer than I remembered. So I have been very, very busy, but busy in like the good way. So I've been doing pretty good. It's finally warmed up here. I'm finally not sick. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I have pushed a lot into this week, so I'm looking forward to taking a bit of a break. But outside of that, like, things are pretty good. Ghost is away for the weekend, which will be tough for me, because I don't do well when left to my own devices. I have to work hard to remember to eat this weekend, but I'll manage. I do know Les Mis. Demon Slayer is the action fantasy manga anime version. Interesting. I first saw Les Mis. I saw the Broadway show Les Mis. I've not read the book. I saw the Broadway show Les Mis in high school, and I sobbed through the entire second act, which, if you don't know, it's a 3-hour show with a intermission after the first hour and a half. So yeah, I basically sobbed through an hour and a half of that show. Music is amazing. I know there are many, many, many anniversary versions of Les Mis, so if you have not heard the soundtrack for Les Mis, highly, highly recommend looking it up on Spotify. Either listen to the original cast recording, which is amazing, or one of the many, many anniversaries. I think there might even be some streamed anniversary versions on something like Disney Plus. If you look, I wouldn't be surprised. Highly recommend. It's just so good. I don't know if Woof is still hanging out in the chat, but I know that Woof is a big fan of Les Mis as well. Ooh, no, that's not what I meant to do. This is what I get for trying to read chat and crop an image at the same time. Yeah, I mean, that is always the thing about having read the literature before catching up to the animated or movie portion, is knowing what's coming. I am very interested to see how far they get with the Dune series, because having read the entire Dune series of books, there's some pretty interesting things coming up. 621. And I'm interested to see how they translate it to film. We've done 5 of these. Hooray. Onward to number 6. I must have used some of this before. How have I not used these words before? Well, we know we can get the. Good news, we can get the. Simple, easy. Happy Thursday to you as well, Creative Tater Tot. I'm doing well. I was sick last week and I am feeling so much better this week. So just in many ways good by default, but it's good. It's been a good week. It's been busy trying to catch up. But it's nice and sunny and warm and I'm getting there. How are you, Creative Tater Tot? What are you up to? All right, now I should have an of and an of in here somewhere. Oh my goodness, if I say your name horribly wrong, I'm so sorry. Sakura Jujulanita? Did I say it right? Hello! Welcome in. How are you? Please, please correct me if I've murdered your name. What is up? Glad you're feeling better. Me too, because I did not realize how awful last week was until I started feeling better. Trying to decide when I want to stream. It's new for me, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of schedule I want to keep. The best advice I can give is just to try whatever feels comfortable. You might have to, like, move around, like, try a bunch of different things till you find what feels more sort of natural. Sometimes what you initially think will feel right just doesn't work. I know I've had to change my stream schedule several times, and I often have to change depending on what type of thing I'm doing. So if I'm editing, I stream at different times of day than when I'm writing, essentially. But I would say just pick the thing that feels most natural, or if you just wake up one morning with that impulse. That's what I did. I just woke up one morning and I was like, maybe I'll try streaming today. Just give it a whirl and just sort of go from there. If it feels good, do more of it, and if it doesn't, do less. is my general advice. That's not helpful because that is not transparent, but that's okay. That was how it happened last week. I was just like, I want to try this out. I totally, 100%, like, I'm no word of a lie. My first stream, I basically, so people had been asking me for a while when I was going to stream. And for a long time, I was like, all I would be doing is writing. It would be super boring. I don't know why anyone would want me to stream that. And then I encountered a bunch of people on Twitch who actually do that, and I was like, oh damn, like this is a thing that people do. So one morning I was planning to do like a little short story. And I was like, what the hell? I will just do it. I'll just turn on OBS and I'll just see what happens. And if nobody shows up, then the next time people are like, when are you gonna stream? I'll just be like, I did, and nobody came, and so that only happened once. And I had no real like expectations. I was like, we'll just see. And so many people from the community came and were like, this is great. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll keep doing it. And here I am a year later, and I'm still doing it because people still come and are like, this is great. And I'm like, okay. Okay, then I'll keep doing it. Earlier today I was doing research and trying to figure out how to navigate OBS. I think I made some headway, so I'm tempted to do a short one this evening. Yeah, if you're set up, go for it. My other advice would be expect a certain amount of technical difficulties for your first few streams until you get the hang of it. It's perfectly normal, and I think most people are understanding of it. So don't worry too much if your visuals aren't where you want them, or I'm looking at the wrong book again, or if your sound needs some adjustment. Don't worry about that kind of stuff. I was very fortunate in that my husband basically set up OBS for me. So although for the longest time until I actually learned how to do OBS stuff for myself, I either had to not touch anything or ask him to do it for me. So I'm sure he was somewhat relieved when I finally sat down and actually learned how to do anything on OBS. Because for the longest time I was just like, somebody suggested I do this, and how do I do that? Can you please just do it for me? And I'm actually quite picky about when I let other people touch my computer. So the fact that for like 3 months I was basically like, can you actually just sit at my computer and do the thing, was speaks to how terrified I was of breaking everything. My first one last week had 3 attempts. Yeah, it's totally... I had a friend who shied away from streaming because he had a lot of technical difficulties in his first few attempts. And he was like, no one's gonna come and watch me if I don't seem professional. And I was like, my dude, I cannot stress enough that no one's first stream is professional. My first stream was essentially my face cam, a Word document, and a Post-it note on the side. Like, I had no idea how to use bots. I had no idea how to use overlays. I had no idea how to use transitions. I didn't even have I don't even think I had like a BRB screen for like when I needed to get up and walk away. I just got up and walked away, and it was just my chair. So I can't stress enough and this goes for anyone who's like, oh, you know, maybe I need to get a certain amount of stuff figured out before I do it. You really don't. Just throw yourself into the deep end. You can figure it out as you go. And I think that's one of the nice things about streaming is like, people are here to interact. People are here to meet new people. And they'll surprise you. Yeah, there might be a small percentage of people who show up and are like, oh, that looks like a disaster stream, whatever, and leave without ever saying anything. First of all, you won't even be aware of them because they won't even say anything before they just leave. But two, like, just making sure I've spelled this properly. Mostly people are just gonna come and be like, hey, you can adjust this to make your stream better, or you can do this. I mean, my first stream, a friend of mine showed up and was like, I have a cute purple overlay that you can use. And as you can see, I've used it ever since, and it's wonderful and it's perfect. And it was a gift from a friend who was like, hey, if you're thinking about doing this more in the future, I have a thing that I made that you can use. So yeah, just throw yourself into it and figure it out as you go, and I promise you'll figure it out. It'll work. Trying to figure out how I want to schedule my art streams versus my writing. That will probably be more challenging. And like I said, I fiddle with my schedule. I don't have a set schedule. I set a schedule at the beginning of each week. And when my streaming times end up being and how long I end up streaming have a lot to do with what projects I'm working on. Tonight, I'll probably stream a little bit later than usual because Ghost Pepper's not home. The only person I have to feed tonight is me, so if I eat dinner a little bit later than usual, I'm not really bothered. I don't mind, especially since I started stream late, I don't mind sticking around a little bit longer. But yeah, I think one of the cool things I think about Twitch is that the community is so open and so helpful that if you just kind of throw yourself out there and just start doing stuff, people will help you figure it out. And I wouldn't have done any of this if people hadn't helped me. I'm thankful that the few people who were there from Game of Tomes and knew it was my first time, absolutely, and that group is so helpful and so friendly. Yeah, this is a bit later. Usually, actually, if I stream in the afternoon, this is around the time I wrap up. I usually start earlier. I usually start around 2:30 PST and try to wrap up around 5:30 PST, which is what it is now. So I'm probably actually going to go an extra hour. We might go to 6:30. And just see how many of these I get done, because we're definitely not going to get all of them done, but I would like to get half of them done. 18 chapters, so 9 I think would be half. Yeah. Which means we have at least 3 more to do, and if we get more than that in, I'll be happy. Also keep forgetting to check what chapter number this is, 22. So these are chapter labels for my Celestial Serenade paperbacks. I should actually grab one. I don't have one of those with me. I do have one of these. I can kind of show you something similar. So for these, I put little pictures in with each chapter, which was actually easier because they were the same each chapter. You can kind of see, but the font that my cover artist actually chose for the covers for these books is not a like font, it's this little vector thing, so I make them by hand. I don't use them in my digital books because each one being an individual image, it will make the price, I don't know why they have a price for this, but the price of, to me, of the transfer over WhisperNet for delivery of the digital file would be higher if there's more images. So they're only for the paperbacks, but they make the paperbacks look super beautiful. So I do this. I torment myself each book by making these chapter labels, but they look so gorgeous once they're actually in the books. And that's what I'm doing. And this chapter is the chapter I mentioned earlier, where every time I read it, I sob. In case anyone was wondering, we're making the chapter label for it right now. I am a crier, so making myself cry with my own work is not abnormal, but this is like the heaviest I've ever sobbed. Bo! Hello, my friend! How are you? You torture yourself by making your chapter names musical terms. That was the last trilogy, and I will never do that again. Those labels were so hard to make because everything was not in a language that I speak fluently. Very heavily researched musical terms so that they were used in proper context, but that was a special form of torture just for myself. Of my own design and making that I had to endure. How are you, Bo? What is up? Also, I have to tell you, I haven't had a lot of time to do D&D planning lately. But I'm finally starting to free up the brain power to plan things for the next session, and I definitely have some thoughts for your character, so look forward to that. Look forward to that. It was a little humorous to watch, if I'm being completely honest. I was unprepared for it because, like, even when I'm doing them in English, I constantly check to make sure that I'm, like, spelling it properly. But I at least know, like, I can at least remember, like, the next, like, oh, I'm spelling best. So I know how to spell best. But when I was doing the Italian ones, it was just no reference. It was just trying to hold on to letters and moving through them so slowly that I constantly had to keep checking. And then this constant paranoia that I had spelled everything wrong. It wasn't the most enjoyable experience. They looked gorgeous, though. They looked gorgeous in the book. It was worth it in the end because those books are amazing. But it was kind of this, Schadenfreude can be strong. Indeed. It was kind of this perfect storm of me being like, I'm gonna fully embrace, because the title of the series is The Celestial Serenade. So it was like, I'm gonna fully embrace the music theme. I'm going to have it, instead of being parts, they're going to be movements. Instead of chapters, it's going to be like, you know, verses or whatever. And everything's going to be named after a musical term. And it's going to be this double meaning thing. And it's great. If you look into, like, all the meanings of the words and stuff I chose, like, it's totally happiness at the misfortune of others. Yeah, I know what Schadenfreude is. I too have experienced the joy of others' misfortune, not gonna lie. Like, karma goes around and comes around, I deserve it. But yeah, at the end of the day, taking a step back, it is a brilliant thing that I did, but it was so much extra work. Like, I was not prepared for how much time I would have to spend researching musical terms. And then every time I changed the book and added a chapter, I had to do more musical terms. Like, I had to do more research. I had to make sure, because I was working, most musical terms are in Italian. So I was working not in my native language, and there was so much research. And then I had to spell it all out one letter at a time, just slowly and agonizingly. And I'm like, never again. It's like one time I created a character in one of my books whose natural language is in a different order than we speak, right? So in English, we put together words in a certain order. And so this is the closest I've ever come to conlanging. I created a different structure for the way that they construct their sentences. I wrote it out so I would know what order all the words were supposed to go in. And because the idea was that this species has a universal translator, but it didn't work well with this type of language. And so I was trying to express that through, you know, having the syntax be off. And it was so much extra work. It was so much extra work, and I had to keep going back and pulling out the dialogue and making sure the sentence structure was in the right order. So guess what? By the time they got to the second part of the trilogy, they had fixed the universal translator so that it worked properly with that language, and I will never do that again. Never. Some things, as an artist, you do once, and you're like, all right, I learned from that. As long as in the end the product turned out to be what you wanted. Yeah, and it did. And it was beautiful and gorgeous. But I learned my lesson. A lot in Italian and Latin. Yeah. And again, Latin is familiar because it's, you know, a root of English. But like, just unfamiliar enough that if you're doing, because even when I'm spelling things out in English sometimes, because I'm doing it so slowly, because it's one letter at a time, it can be very hard to keep track of. But at least with English, it's a language that I'm rooted in, right? So when they were all in another language, it was brutal. They do look gorgeous, though, I must say. It was worth it. It was worth it in the end, which is why we're still making these chapter labels. 8 books later. But, like, dang, lesson learned. This is why I've sort of come up with easier ways of conveying in, because I write in fantasy worlds, right? So I've tried to come up with sort of easier ways to convey other languages or present like other forms of speaking in written speech, so that I don't have to make it really hard on my brain. And maybe that's a form of cheating. Like, maybe some people think that if you actually are writing out like Elvish instead of just indicating that it's translated Elvish being spoken, that it makes the world come more alive. But at the same time, somebody has to try and read that. And I feel like if I have whole lines of text written in another language, it's really just going to be gibberish to most people. And they're just going to skip over it anyway. So a challenge that I've sort of set for myself is finding ways to make the fantasy parts of my book feel like they are integrated, but also in a way that doesn't make people's brains work too hard. My character, they don't entirely know how to show emotion properly. They're as excited as they can be. I mean, I'm very interested to see how they're going to fit into the group dynamic. In terms of old movies, that's mostly why Germans spoke in British accents. I don't actually know much about old movies. I'm probably the wrong person to ask. But it is interesting because if you are a native English speaker and you hear German being spoken, you feel like you should be able to understand it. It's that, like, there are those languages that come from the same root, right? And even though German and English are very different languages, the way that they strike the ear feels familiar. If you hear someone speaking German as a native English speaker, even if you don't speak any German, it feels to you like you should be able to. It's like your brain is trying to parse it, and it's like, why don't I understand this? It feels like I should be able to understand this, which is something that's very interesting to me as someone who is interested in language. So yeah, I don't actually know why that is. I assume it's because they have the same root. And so the sounds follow the same rules, even if the like rules of the language are quite different. It's like when I hear someone speaking Japanese, my ear is like, ah, yes, you don't know this language. You don't know what this is. But if my ear hears someone speaking German, my brain is like, if I focus hard enough, I should know what this is. I don't, but my brain is like, but I should. Because the French, I know, I looked at a book completely in Portuguese, and there were things that poked through which interested me. Yeah, exactly. Like, if the languages are closely enough related, and it's not necessarily the specific sounds. It's more like the root of the language. It's more like the key components of how they're put together. And this is what conlangers study. Like, this is how people do conlanging and create fake languages that sound real. And it's wonderful. It's linguistics, right? And it's this magical thing about how brains and language and everything work. That is a very distracting song, so I'm gonna skip it. But yeah, it's very, very fascinating. And there's a part of me that would very much love to conlang and to actually like create my own fake language. But I don't know what I'd ever do with it. Having a fake language that can actually be read is super cool, but I feel like most people wouldn't do anything with it. So I create words. I create words in languages. For instance, one of my characters eventually has a child that they name in another language, and I translate the meaning of the name in the book. But I try not to do more than that because it's a lot for a little return. Sometimes as a creative, you do have to measure how much return you're going to get for the effort that you're putting in. And while I would love to actually create an entire fake language, I feel like unless my stuff gets made into movies, it just wouldn't get used. It's much more useful to have that kind of stuff for movies or TV. Like when they made the Game of Thrones TV show, that's when they created the conlang for those various places, those various countries. And it makes sense because people are going to hear it, right? It's going to get used. Whereas on the page, it kind of just comes across as gibberish. That's why I don't often make TTRPG characters who talk like me. Portuguese sort of looked like a mix of French and Spanish all jumbled up. Ooh, interesting. For my love of film and voice acting, language has always fascinated me. Yes, same. As a writer, language and how we express ourselves, because that's character, right? Like the core of character and the core of conveying character is understanding how people express themselves. But yeah, it's I could talk about this for hours. Just on and on and on and on. Because it is fascinating. And it's all, like, people talk about how when you learn a new language, you think in that language as well, or you think according to the principles of that language. So it is a whole thing. Like, it's not just the ear or just the tongue. It's a whole brain activity. Like, language and how we express ourselves through language and how we learn language and how we translate language. It's a full brain activity. There's so much involved in that process that we don't even really know about or think about. Now tell me I've not used this word before in any of these. I keep looking for words I've already done. No, I haven't. Bizarrely, I have not done these words yet. So we'll put us at 8. So we'll do this one, and then we'll take a break.
Dear Mario, please come to the castle. I have baked a cake for you. Yours.
Yeah, anytime I can use a portion of a word that I've already used, I try to, but I'm really good at differentiating my chapter titles, because I've had to make them all manually today. I think too that when you're a creative, whether you're a writer or an artist or whatever, you know, any form of creative media creation, I think you become fascinated by so many of those different things because they all have use for what you're doing. Writing is this amalgamation of geography and history and psychology and sociology. And so information is of any kind becomes fuel, it becomes fodder. No knowledge is ever wasted. And so it makes sense that you just, voraciously devour all of this different type of information. because it all sort of goes into your brain and percolates into something new, something creative. And it's the same for artists, right? It's this study of anatomy, the study of motion, and the study of light and how light strikes objects. And even if you don't necessarily come at the endeavor right from the start and be like, I'm gonna learn about geography so that I can create a fake place. You're just like, okay, this story takes place in a made-up place. And you just start making shit up, and then eventually you're like, oh, maybe I should, like, learn how rivers flow so that I can make this part of the story make more sense. Or maybe I should learn about early history migration so that I know where the oldest cities would be. Or maybe I'm gonna look at pictures of London because my modern fantasy city is inspired by, an ancient city turned modern, which London is. London was a medieval city, which has been modernized. So yeah, you just sort of come at it in bits and pieces, and then over time you end up studying all these things because they all go somewhere. They all become something. Yeah, music, math, psychology, how the ear works, all of it. Yeah. And that's how writers end up on research rabbit holes, is because you're like, oh, if I read this interesting article, it will help me with this part of my work. And then there's a link to another thing and another thing. And literally Wikipedia is great, but can also be a deadly distraction. Because you're basically inviting yourself to just keep studying this thing and keep studying that thing. So that's why some writers schedule research time. So it doesn't interfere with the other things that they want to get done for the day. So I know that we are once again in the middle of a label here, but it is 10 to 6 and my Fitbit is about to buzz me and tell me to get up and move. It just did. I've done 14 steps this hour, so I have to go get my step goal in. Woof. I've just been waiting for you to show up and sass me about one of these titles, and it's amusing to me that this is the one you picked. That just happens to be what the bee looks like. Not totally on topic, but I love that game on Wikipedia, attempting to use the links to get from one topic to another. Yes! And eventually, I think they eventually all lead back to the same place if you go on for long enough. It's really fascinating. Wikipedia is a fascinating thing. A fascinating tool of our society. I'm gonna be right back. I just gotta get up and do my steps. I encourage you to get up, stretch, move around, grab something to drink. We're going to go for at least another 40 minutes. And hopefully make about 3 or 4 more of these. We won't get fully finished today. I think we're only going to get about halfway, but that's fine because we're going to have time in the coming weeks to do more of this. So I will be right back, and until then, take care of yourselves. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, or do. You do you. Gonna test my stuff out, so I'm gonna start the stream. Creative Tater Tot, good luck. Thank you so much for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Oh gosh, I thought the music had died while I was gone. Studying for a work exam tomorrow about airport codes. Good luck. Megan sounds like an old Twitch pro now. I think I just want you guys to take care of yourselves so hard. That's all. Good luck on the exam, Bo. You're gonna do great. You are amazing. Woof is correct. Listen to Woof. He knows what he's talking about. He's wrong about the backward 3B, but he's right about everything else. Oh my goodness. The main thing that I have to keep in mind when Ghost is away is just that I need to eat at like not 8 o'clock at night. Keep being like, make sure you eat before 8 o'clock. Make sure you eat before 8 o'clock. Make sure if he texts you at like 8 o'clock, you should be able to say, I ate already. And I did try to make the cooking like as easy for myself as possible. Today is like the only night that I have to cook until like Wednesday. And Ghost will be back way before then, so it's all good. Woof, I don't know if you're still hanging out in the chat, but if you are, I was going through the first draft of Book 8 of Arvalia Chronicles, and there is a part where one of the characters tells a certain someone that they would like to punch him repeatedly in the face. So I figured you'd appreciate that. That W always looks weird, but it's just huge compared to the rest of the letters. Chapter 24? gotta remember what this one actually is because I keep thinking it's a different word than it actually is. No brain. Cooperate, please. This at least puts me halfway done. I think we might do one more. Just so they're So we're a little bit ahead of the next one for the next session. Chapter 25. Yeah, that's 9. So if we do one more, that will put us at 10. I think that will mean that we will have 8 to do next time. Yeah. So one more time, once more onto the breach. This should be an easy one. Ooh, I like this remix. This is nice. Oops. Words are weird when you're spelling them very, very slowly. All right, this will be the last letter for today, because if we stop now, we can do another whole stream of these, and also I can start thinking about my dinner. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna save these. That is chapter 6. So I started here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus a half for the next book that I accidentally did at the beginning of this stream. That's perfect, I think. That's where we're going to stop for today. Also, my brain can only handle so many of these at one time, and I think we did a good go of it. We got a lot in. I think people are mostly settling in for their evening streams anyway, and this is beyond my usual time. So we're gonna see who's around to drop a raid on. And I'm gonna go get some food. If you've been lurking, I appreciate it. Love to all my lurkers. Always happy to have people here. But let's see who else is working. Let's see who's doing what. I think actually our friend Mumbles is on doing some art. Mumbles is the person who made all of the wonderful channel emotes and my Twitch avatar. So if you see pretty much any art that isn't cover art on this here Twitch area, it was made by Mumbles. And since we were doing art today, we're gonna drop in on her, give some love, say hey. Because we do writing raids a lot, so we're gonna do some art raid today. Drop some love on Mumbles. If you have my emotes, please feel free to use them, or use any emotes that make you happy. It's the love that we care about. Let me get it started. I am not entirely sure when I'm gonna be back next week. Probably, I'm thinking we're gonna be doing Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday streams. Next week, probably mostly in the morning, because we're mostly going to be doing editing. We're hopefully going to be doing another round of poetry on Friday. We'll hopefully be doing sonnets this time because we didn't get to those, but we'll probably be doing Wednesday and Thursday morning editing streams, and then a Friday morning poetry session. So look forward to that. I do apologize about all of the chaos that my stream has been lately. I know it's been chaos. It's just the combination of sickness and how crazy busy we are has not left me a lot of wiggle room. But I'm happy to hang out with you guys. I'm happy that you guys come and hang out with me, despite all the craziness and everything else going on. I know I'm popping off a bit abruptly here, but I really did hit my limit with these labels, and I do need to start thinking about dinner. So I'm going to do that. You guys take care of yourselves, get something to eat and drink, and take care of yourselves. And I hope that all of the creative energy flows for you until I see you again next week. Take care. And thank you again for hanging out with me. Seriously.